Welcome, everyone, to the Co-Creators Convergence Thursday night Creator Convo. I'm very excited about tonight because I'm going to introduce you to someone that I met quite a while ago, over a decade ago, Ty Gold, when we were running around in our RV in Florida. And she has just her skills and what she's been doing has just escalated over the years that we've known you. And so we're doing a collective kind of coming out party for Ty and these new energies that she's bringing in, which I think are so needed for our planet right now. And particularly she'll be telling you exactly who she's targeting with the wisdom that she brings through. So I won't steal her thunder. Yeah. So anyone who's on Facebook land, you're welcome to come on into the room. And because there's going to be a lot opportunity to talk directly with Ty's divine beings about mission and other things. So don't be shy. Don't be out there in Facebook land eating your pizza and thinking you can't ask any questions. So anyway, I'm Noel Marshall, and I'm here with my beloved Bob Warner. And together we call ourselves Light Partners, and we are the stewards of the Co-Creators Convergence. So I'm going to tell everyone a little bit more about the Co-Creators Convergence, Ty, then we'll come back, and then we'll have an introduction of you, a more formal introduction, and then I'll turn it over to you and we're off to the races for a really wonderful, deep time together.
Awesome.
All right, so hold on, and I'll do a little screen share. So that is a little bit about us, about the Co-Creators Convergence. And Ty, were you ever around when we were there with the Birth 2012 and showed some of Barbara Mark Hubbard's movies?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought you were part of that when we were down in Florida with Reverend Peggy Hostetter and Reverend Marcia McCartney. So yeah, we go way back to Florida days. We're running around in our RV. And we also, you recommended that we go see Suzanne Geisman. I think she's a colleague of yours now. So it's very exciting to have you here after a decade that we've known each other. And I'm going to tell everybody just a little bit about you. Ty says she woke up to the sound of her angel's voice in 2012 and have spent the majority of the last 10 years, a whole decade, being taught and trained by the divine as a healer, empath, starseed, psychic, and medium. She is a co-founder of a New Earth Magic School, Oracle of New Earth Empires, and an Abundance and Ascension Mentor. So, Ty, I'm going to turn it over to you. Perhaps you could do a little centering to bring everyone to focus. And
I need it too. Absolutely, I'd be honored. So I'm gonna take a sip of water first. It's kind of my first.
I kind of need it today too, because we drove over 500 miles today, just checking into a hotel on our way to the Co-Creators Convergence in Texas. So we still do have 2 rooms left if anyone's interested in joining. Other than that,
that's beautiful.
We're full. So it's a really wonderful place. So Ty, I'm going to spotlight you, turn it over to you, and then you can, however you want, whatever you want to share. It's a platform for you to use. I think it's very important for people to know about what you're bringing and how you can assist them, because you have very special gift.
I think we all do. I think we all do.
You got me on that.
I'm honored though. I'm honored. Well, I'm going to invite everyone who's sharing in this beautiful conversation this evening, if you don't mind, join me and taking a couple of deep grounding breaths. I like to take them so big that my belly pops out a bit, and it really brings me into my root, into my seat. So join me in that, please. One of my favorite things to do, if you want to imagine with me, one of my favorite things to do is start anchoring into the new earth of abundance, the higher dimension of Gaia. So I often ask to be plugged into, anchored into, grounded, connected to the highest dimension and realm that's most appropriate and aligned for me that Gaia has available now. Beautiful. I'm going to ask that you draw another deep breath in after you've connected with Gaia, and draw that breath and attention up to your heart space. And when you breathe out, think of something that you're grateful for. Whatever these circumstances are, I'm sure that Gaia's had a hand in it. So I'm going to give her another piece of my gratitude. And if you like, you can say a prayer for yourself, or set an intention, or for someone else that you, a loved one, or someone that you care for. My last and most favorite thing when I'm centering is connecting to Creator Source. And I ask for divine wisdom to be bestowed upon each one of us. And whatever I share tonight, I'm asking that it's truthful, most beneficial, and honorable to the listeners of Co-Creators Convergence, anyone who's on the live stream or the replay. Setting the intention that this is fun, joyful, and collaborative. So I'm actually feeling like I want to kind of stay in that sacred space and begin to channel. I feel like this first bit of conversation, I'm being asked to share with you all. I'm going to have my eyes closed. I do that so that my focus is very steady, but I'm still very conscious and very aware. And the consciousness, the collective consciousness, I'm going to be sharing this message for all of you tonight, is from a community of New Earth empires. These are businesses or mission-led businesses. And the reason why this matters and is so dynamic, and I'm so excited about it, is they're wanting to go into this, and I might overshare. We might hear things get repeated. We're having a conversation right now. They would rather explain this to you. I'm excited because I know for many years, and maybe even some of you members in this Co-Creators Convergence community, or listening, out on Facebook or on the replay, maybe you've been some of the grid workers for the last 10 years. Maybe you've been guided to create New Earth grid structure around our globe. And if you hadn't done this, then the New Earth empires couldn't be here tonight to have this conversation with all of us. I'm just checking in. Okay, so I'm just checking in about what I can share, so we don't step on each other's toes. To be clear, my mediumship beyond 2012, 13, 14, it took an interesting turn, and I found myself channeling the entity of people's businesses. And when I would do this, I saw it as a silhouette of a human being. And I would tune into them. And a lot of times they would have a gender, they would have form, they would have a chakra system. So I've been mentoring people intuitively about their businesses for quite a while. I love it. It's my passion. The fact that we can scale and grow our businesses and serve humankind and do this from our heart as a service, and that our guidance, our intuition can help us do that better, perform better, be more aligned and appropriate, and really be of divine service without overgiving, right? And so I've loved helping people with their businesses, but things changed. Things took a turn a few years ago, and it's kind of thanks to you, grid workers. So hopefully I haven't given too much away. I kind of felt the need to just establish a little bit more of a foundation before I go into trance channeling. Okay, so they're asking me to clarify the way you're going to actually watch me or perceive me sharing this message for them tonight is going to be that echo repeat. So they're going to tell me, and then I'm going to relay this to you. This will actually allow me to last a lot longer. When they use my physical vessel, it actually absorbs a lot more of my battery. So when they come like this close and whisper into my ear or help me see or sense what they're wanting me to repeat or share, it allows me to go on for longer periods of time. And they're really wanting me to interact with some of the guests that ends up showing up this evening with questions. Okay. So one of the first things that they're wanting me to share with all of you about New Earth Empires is that they are heart inspired. They're very mission led businesses. The focus is on the greater good, on a vision, a long-term goal. Some of us will start up businesses and we'll have different reasons for that. We'll have like a formula. If I take this and put it with that, then I can solve this problem. And that's not how a mission-led or a mission-directed business is aligned or most compatible to the New Earth. A New Earth empire comes from a seed that's planted. And this seed is planted by humanity's desires. And co-creators convergence is actually one of those. And they're wanting me to use this Noel and Bob example to bring this into reality here now, from outer space to right here, right now. So it's more tangible and you can relate to it. So the reason why we have co-creators convergence right here, right now, today, and why it's singing such a harmonious song with its people, with its audience, is because there was a desire. There was a collective consciousness, a group of humans on the planet that said, I wish we had that. And some of this, they're saying, was a brainchild of even Barbara Marx Hubbard. So I don't know. Let me see if they'll explain. So obviously I wasn't there with this when this happened, but the way they're showing it to me was Barbara Marx said something, shared something that she thought would be a novel idea. And then that idea was taken and wrapped in love from Noel and Bob, and they watered and planted this seed so that it would grow. But the desire, the truest desire, the origin came from a group of humans. And so it wasn't necessarily a problem to solve. It was, wouldn't it be nice if we had that? It came from a different place. It came from a hope, a wish, a desire to provide wisdom to humanity, to provide community, to provide higher consciousness. There are some strategies and structures inside co-creators convergence that the New Earth empires say could go through a little bit of an overhaul. One of the major game changers to New Earth inspired businesses is collaboration. And the New Earth empire community is saying that you all have nailed this. They would like to suggest, if you don't mind me sharing, they would like to suggest that you utilize ambassadors more often to get the word out. And the way you do that is say you've been chosen to be an ambassador for us and to tell people about us. And that would take you tapping someone on the shoulder and saying you are a beautiful face of representation of our values. And we would like for you to share the message about what we offer. And that brings us to another portion of the conversation that they really want to hone in on. Businesses utilizing a value system is not necessarily new, but this is one of the strongest assets that the New Earth empires recommend that we all start to utilize once we are clear on our vision and our mission. Once we hold this up and say, I would like to create this, and we understand that it's going to take a period of time, something else they want to talk about. Because a lot of times we have an enormous vision or no vision at all. And the divine says to kind of work through that requires a couple of things. It requires a willingness to actually tune in as if this New Earth empire is its own being, as if it's not you, as if it has a purpose and a soul and a mission and a plan, if you're willing to have conscious conversations and say, show us what you're here for, show us what you're capable of, and going back to that system of values, promise to make them the root system of the New Earth Empire. And in my world, we often call these codes. These are frequencies that you share with the world. Mine are hope, love, faith, family, forgiveness. And you sense this in everything my business touches, everything that I'm about. It gets distributed everywhere. So each of you have your own soul's codes that you're asked to bring here. And they're not always the things you excel at. They're the things you master over your lifetime. So you kind of almost become an expert on this thing, a lot through trial and error. And you go into your family circles, your communities, and you copy paste, and you share them. You're saying Noel might be very good at like music and song, and this could be the thing that she contributes. She always shines in her glory in that facet. People can always count on her to bring some sort of harmony or tune in. And this is a part of her medicine that she shares with the communities that she takes part in. So one of the things that you have to do when you are saying, yes, I'd like to be led by or partner with a collaboration with this New Earth Empire. Yes, I will listen to this being. I will follow this advice. I will tune in. I will ask. I will pay attention to the values, the mission, and the vision. The other thing that's often at play, the value system solves a lot of problems, but the other thing that's often at play is how much control. How much are you going to do it your way, and how much are you going to allow the mission-led business, the New Earth Empire, lead? And some people really fight with this control, especially if they consider the business as ours or mine or it's me. And this is where a lot of systems fail, especially from a New Earth perspective, because you'll have almost like a tug of war. And if you have a business that's been really successful, it's almost even more challenging to get them to tune into the heart of the mission and the vision. Or if you have a business owner who's failed a few times and they're operating out of that fear, I don't want to fail again. I don't want to fail again. Oh, I remember what happened last time. These directions are usually the two that have the hardest time allowing the mission to lead or the New Earth Empire to speak for itself. A lot of people think that when a business is focused on the greater good of humanity, that it's all philanthropy, that it's all, we're going to give everything away. That there shouldn't be a cost for goods or services. And the New Earth Empires want us to know that this couldn't be farther from the truth. These systems, these structures, these New Earth Empires are all about a stable foundation and a safety net. And they're able to align to New Earth abundance because they are a seed that's planted by the desires and wish of humanity. And they're anchored on those beautiful grid systems that so many of you took part in establishing on our planet. They are nurtured, they are held up by Gaia and Source, and they're coded with source codes and those value systems that we talked about. And they just reverberate those codes like an echo, like a beacon. If you give them enough power, enough nurturing, enough of your planning, your mindfulness, your thoughtfulness with the safety nets, they'll call in who they want to work with. They'll stabilize and mature 2-year, 5-year, 6-year, 40-year business These empires of light want to be established and stay established, and these businesses will evolve. You will watch one mission get traded for another. And some of you might be aware of this, that you received an invitation or a calling from the divine to change something, to start over, to do it again. And your mission empire evolved. In the structures of the new earth paradigm, way out in the 5th dimension, 9 dimensions, 7, it doesn't really matter. These structures almost look like ice sculptures or an entire glass Empire State Building. They're enormous structures. And when they evolve and you say yes, because it's always an invitation, a divine invitation, to choose a secondary mission or align to a new mission, a new earth mission, you'll see that structure literally extend and expand. And so the life force blood to these systems are the finances. So for those of you who like to give everything away in hopes that it will generate funds, we ask you to reevaluate whether that's imbalance, whether or not your systems are taking care of the plan for the future. Many of our new earth biz empire owners have a lot of debt, too much debt for us to actually bail them out of. And so when we're aligning to new earth abundance, we have to start asking ourselves, does this serve our goal? And wait, pause, reflect till the answer lands. And when you find that checks and balance system, feeling into whether or not this investment or that purchase is aligned and in the highest interest, the highest good, keeping the life force in the systems and the structures of the new earth empires, it will help you become a very savvy business owner, because you'll just be dialed in, tapped into, and assessing the needs. And these new earth empires will give you a business plan. You can ask, you can sit down. I do. They wanted me to say my name in third person. I sit down with my business empire one to two times a month, and we have basically a staff meeting. What are we sharing? What are we posting? What are we talking about? What are we giving away? What are we selling? What's in the highest alignment? And the resources just stay coming in on a conveyor belt, and I'm not spent. I'm not exhausted. I'm not overwhelmed. Everything feels like a dance, and we're in tempo. We're in step with each other, coordinating together, working together. I'll just take a little breath and a drink here. Are you guys receiving a lot of value from this conversation?
Yes, and there are people online as well.
Yay.
So we have
Okay.
questions waiting for you. So
Excellent. I'm excited. Excellent. So there were three things that the New Earth Empires asked me to come in tonight and share with all of you. And number one, first and foremost, I think you heard it, but I'm going to repeat it. And I've been saying this for a long time, is you are not your business and your business isn't you. And one of the most valuable things you can do is separate the two and sit down and have a conversation with him, her, them. Like I said, when I used to tune in years ago, I would normally get a gender. Now they're usually gender neutral, genderless, without gender. Because the mechanics have changed. It seems more like kind of like a building, kind of like a machine, but also it has a soul. It's very interesting when I tune in. So let me tune into the second thing that they want me to share with you. Okay. So the statement that they gave me this afternoon to share with you, I kind of threw it in the box and said, how are we discussing this? How are we approaching it? So I'm going to say it the way they gave it to me earlier, because I feel like it's going to land with somebody or be beneficial. They say that there's more than one way to that pie in the sky. So a lot of us get into business to earn money. I mean, that's just a reality of it. We want to see profits. We want to, I mean, some of us want to see ourselves in luxurious places, driving luxurious cars. And our New Earth empires want, if that's what we want, that's what they want for us. That's not a bad thing. But the point of the conversation is there's more than one way to get there. So I'm going to close my eyes and tune in so that you get that crystal clear. Okay. They're showing me there's almost like two versions that's most common right now. Realize as we evolve and understand, we'll probably find new ways because we adapt. We're that kind of species. So if you can imagine two, they're showing it to me and I have to describe it to you. It's making me laugh. Two sets of escalators. One of them has stairs and goes very slow. And the other one looks more like a slide. So there's no steps. It's flat and goes very fast. So you'd have to hold on. Show me again, explain. These are similar to the two systems and the structures that are kind of available to you right now to receive and align to New Earth abundance. They're both going to be uncomfortable for most of us, is what they're saying. I'm sorry to say that. But that's what they're explaining. The one with the stairs that goes kind of slow can be monotonous for some people. Oh my God, it's taking so long. You could try to take, climb the stairs as it's moving you. The other one is a more, direct route. It's fast, but it could be scary. And so these are kind of the two versions of scaling your empire, your biz that we kind of have available right now. And so it's really important as you approach your business that you kind of tune in and find out like, which escalator are we on? And, how do you feel about it? Do you want to switch to the other one? Obviously, the one that looks very slick to me and goes very fast, it looks like you could elevate yourself quite quickly, but I feel like you would have to be a brave warrior soul that's comfortable being uncomfortable. And the other one is for that, tried and true soldier that knows that the long game will eventually get there. They're comfortable in their faith. They're calm and just willing to take each stair as it comes. Independence is another strong, necessary need in growing and scaling your New Earth empires. Oh, I'm so glad they're bringing this up. Because each one of these systems has its own independent goals, desires, wishes, plans, personality, it's really important that we kind of fine tune connecting or tuning into them, having conversations with them. Because if we watch everyone else who's doing something like what we have or what we're doing, if we have issues about competition, we could really lose our way. We could end up trotting down a bunny hill that wasn't really meant for us or aligned for us. Cost us a lot of time, cost us a lot of money, and really throw us into doubt. And each business has their own soul codes that they're here to bring. That means that they excel at some really special stuff. And the sooner you kind of connect and find out what their magic sauce is, what those ingredients are, the easier it is for you to kind of distribute them to the most aligned people, the souls that wished for this structure to come into life. And the last thing they'd like for me to share with you is about the sabotage. Many of us are notorious for sabotaging ourselves. I don't think we get out of this human experience without dealing with it. It's just how much you're going to allow it to control you or control the narrative or let it take over. The New Earth empires say, as long as you're leading from the heart and service, divine service for the greater good of humanity, you're never going to go wrong. You might have some bumps or hills or moments where you're not quite sure, but as long as your heart is centered on providing the greatest wealth, opportunities, whatever it is you're being inspired to create or distribute or share, then you're always going to be in alignment with your new earth biz. It's when we allow the doubt or the fears to take over, or that desire to be in competition or compare ourselves or match everybody else, that it can really jog where we're going, our trajectory, and put us in a very disempowered and unmotivated state, and cause us to actually draw back and cancel plans, ideas, or thoughts we were having about expanding or scaling. Just tuning in. And one more thought that they're asking me to leave with you tonight. If you feel like you have a new earth business, or maybe you're not sure, they kind of like for you to start out with just a candle lit beside you, and imagine this beautiful wick and candle is the idea, the construction of your new earth empire, and just start having conversations. And this could be either out loud, on paper, with a pen, or even in your own mind. But just pause and listen and see if that new earth empire begins answering your questions and responding and replying back to you. And some of you might actually feel things or see things. So pay attention to all the signals and sensations that come on and come online when you ask and expect to receive. Okay, how is that?
I think it's really wonderful. I'm going to, we're joined by another business alchemist, Kathy
Yay.
Houston. And Cindy is really enjoying this conversation, she says, and she has questions.
Great.
And yeah, so I think you're doing, this is excellent. And we still have more time for them to share with us, if you would like, before we open it up to some of those questions.
I feel like some of the questions that they're wanting me to respond to, I may end up long-winded with them, because I feel like that it's going to serve the whole. So I think it's actually a good time to do that, if that's okay.
With the question? Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's go back here in the chat. And
can you talk and scroll at the same time? Are you the music one?
You talking to me?
Yes.
They
were using you as an example, as the one that usually has the music, and I'm like, is that a thing?
No, I like to sing, but nobody likes to hear me sing.
Same. Nobody asked me to do it.
Well, I would ask everyone to go ahead and start their video if they would like. So everyone can start their video, and
I haven't looked at this chat function at all. Should I go in here?
Yeah, if you like to. Cindy, come on, girl. You got a lot on your mind. So I'm going to add a spotlight. There we go. Bob, you can even turn yours on. Will do. Sarah, Kathy, welcome. Stacy, welcome. You can turn your video on anytime. But let's go ahead and ask Cindy to unmute, because she has a lot on her mind. Go ahead, Cindy.
Hi, Ty. How are you? Hi, everybody. It's so nice to see you again.
Thank you. Same.
Well, I have a lot in my mind, because I feel like I need to expand And I know that you know that I had a candle business,
Mhm.
and I'm still in the business, but I don't know exactly how to go from here, because I'm feeling called to do a lot of mentoring, a lot of also like retreats and all that kind of stuff. But I'm self-sabotaging right now in the
Yeah.
sense of like, I feel like I'm not good enough, or
Yep.
that I don't have the qualifications for it.
Yeah.
And I have seen like a lot of coaches that don't like, they just start, right?
Sure.
So how do I know if I'm in the right path? Like, how do I know that
Good
I'm
question.
supposed to be doing mentoring alongside with, my candle business and all the things? So I'm just kind of curious.
I love this question, and I really want to thank you so much for being brave and sharing it, because I actually get this one a lot. And so I just want to thank you. Thank you very much. So one of the things that they want me to share with you is I actually am perceiving two different paths, like you standing in front of two different options, which I think you already know. And it's not going to be feasible for you to bicycle down both lanes at the same time. Right. They do want me to share a personal reflection with you. Because I was taught and trained by the divine, they were the ones that kind of certified me to do a lot of what I did. And that helped me with some of the negative self-talk and doubt, and also knowing if I have skill sets to serve and support people, right? And getting that guidance also tells you when you're ready. So if I can encourage you to do anything, it's become your own expert at divine communication, so that you feel self-led, and so that you can be self-guided and self-taught in a lot of ways. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay.
So what would, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to tune back in, but
Tune back
you can
in.
ask.
Tune back in.
Okay. They're also saying that you're also trying to satisfy another conflict. Apparently, there's part of you, and therefore people in your life, that don't consider you being successfully employed unless you have like a tangible business, like I sell rocks or this or that. And so this idea, and I'm going to use air quotes, we have to deal with a lot of the negative talk, or it's internal, but then it also gets reflected externally to us. And so I feel like that thought in your mind of, will I be successful at this, and will I be good at it? Is it a real business? Is it like a real job kind of conversation? And it's really going to have to be you that decides that, but it really is going to take a strong amount of courage and bravery, which you obviously have. I mean, you brought this conversation up. I know for sure that to be where most of us are, living comfortably, providing support to people, it does take some mentorship. And a lot of us, just like when you go to college and you pay tuition, a lot of us had to pay someone to help train us with skills, or to be certified, or this or that. And so I do feel like it is important with the New Earth Empire business, when we talked about the resources and like the lifeblood of the business, sometimes we are guided to hold a source of income, a job, while we're gaining skill sets, while we're getting experience. I had years worth of testimonials before I let go of my other jobs, and felt like I could satisfy my regular income. So it's important to have a safety net, and not just be like, oh, I'm doing this. And I see a lot of people do that. And it's one of those things, like you either sink or swim. I think that's a lot for your brain and your nervous system to go through. However, they were talking about you not being able to bicycle down both lanes at both times. So I'm not in your daily life. I'm not sure exactly what that means. I'm not sure if you're not receiving enough resources or income from the one business to satisfy the needs of growing this one. But I do feel like you might need some sort of income while you train yourself up and grow yourself up to be a mentor, if that's what you decide to do. It's the other thing I really want people to understand. When this grid work was done and our earth went through a shift, we got the capabilities to tap into timelines like nobody's business. And you can choose it tomorrow to let go of one thing and pick something else up, and you just open a new timeline of opportunity. So this concept that we've had for hundreds of years, like, is this my path? That's gone. Your path is whatever you choose it to be, or whatever you make it to be, and you can change it again tomorrow. This whole multi-dimensional parallel timelines, it's just opened up a new field of opportunities. There's nothing you have to do. There's nothing you're supposed to do. It's about options, opportunities, choices. Is that helpful?
Absolutely, because I was very into like providing different things in my business, like especially with the cosmic human design. It really like opened me a whole new level of me. Something that I truly knew that there was something wrong with the tropical side.
Yeah.
So I felt really called to really reach out to more people to make them understand that the cosmic human design is different. And I wanted to really develop that and really grow an awareness of that, because a lot of people don't know about it.
Right.
But then I also wanted to do like retreats, and I wanted to do like because I am multi-passionate, and I feel like I cannot do one niche.
That's New Earth Human. Just so you know, that's New Earth Human stuff right there. We wear so many hats now. Yeah. It's great. I am getting the guidance that there is a New Earth Empire wish and opportunity out there for you, but I definitely feel like it needs to come from your soul and your heart. Like, I wish, I desire to create this. I desire to share this. And you know, I'm going to circle back to you becoming a master of divine communication. I think that could be the key to the magic kingdom for you.
Well, I want to jump in here. Cindy, I want to see one of your candles.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Yes, I am right now. I am doing
I love her energy.
My new Wealth Accelerator candle.
Accelerator candle.
Yes, and it has like citrine and tiger's eye, and then it has like the actual dollar bill. You know, it's different dimensions. So I have been transforming my candle and always rebranding and always elevating and always making it better, because I just feel that people need to get my energy, and I feel that they can, you know, accelerate. So I'm always redesigning, rebranding. And I also wanted to let you know, Ty, that I changed my business name. I'm no longer doing the Abundance Soul Shop, and I actually renamed it to the Divinely Embodied.
Nice.
Divine what?
Divinely embodied.
Oh, Divinely Embodied. So is that your website, Divinely Embodied?
Yeah, so my shop now is called Divinely Embodied LLC. So I feel so aligned with this name, more than I had with the Abundance Soul Shop.
Good.
So,
Cindy, where are you located? Just out of curiosity, where are you located, Cindy?
I'm located here in Miami, Florida. I think I'm a few hours away from Thai, I believe.
Okay.
I don't remember. We're still in the same Florida.
You're still okay. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, it's wonderful to have your energy here. I just, you are multi-passionate. I can.
Yeah.
So I hope Ty and her team have been able to help you. And we have someone else, Ty, that would like to join in this conversation. Stacy
Sure.
has put in, she says she's starting at the basics. I cannot seem to find the passion about anything to create a path. Any advice? That's not an uncommon. And Stacy, you're welcome to turn on your video if you'd like and speak directly with there we come. There she is. Wonderful.
Hi.
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 What the divine is showing me and telling me about you, and I'm just going to say it out loud so that you can either like confirm or deny that this could be playing. I have learned that people tend to be internal convincers or external convincers. Internal convincer means I can make decisions on my own. I'm kind of like my own best counsel. I may talk about an idea or decision with a friend of mine, but at the end of the day, I kind of choose what's best for me. External convincers have a tendency to ask a lot of outside sources what they think. What would you do? What would you do in my situation? What would you do in this scenario? And they have a tendency to end up quite confused. Would you say that you're an internal convincer or an external convincer?
Very internal.
You feel like you make really solid choices on your own?
I feel that I don't ask anyone about anything. I've made all the decisions for myself all my life. So
Okay.
I don't go searching for things to shore me up.
And so has it been your experience in the last like 5 years where you might ask where you might have someone suggest, you're really good at that, you should do this or you should try that? Has that come up?
Not really.
Okay.
I don't get out much.
Okay. So a lot of times our paths or our options and opportunities are forged by our passions. So what do you feel like you get
That's the thing I keep on twirling through my head, and a lot has happened the last few years, and it's just it just, I don't know if it's the things that have happened have just like driven passion out of me. But I know a lot about a lot of things, but none of them really get my juices flowing, right? Like I just, I enjoy crystals, I enjoy the cards, I enjoy energy work, I enjoy it all. But it's just narrowing down into what really gets me going, and it just doesn't seem that,
Yeah. My feeling is the based on the guidance that I'm getting, the new earth paradigm and the shift happening caused a lot of people to kind of be on pause, on reset, almost like sidelined, because there's a lot of new energy at play. A lot of times we were led by our interests or our passions into something that we were like cared about. Sometimes we were inspired by a hobby. We'd get into something we just couldn't get enough of doing this thing, and everybody loved it and they wanted to buy it, and holy shit, we've got a business. That's how a lot of us get into creating. New earth paradigm, the shift that happened is elevating our artists. And so I would really strongly encourage you to connect with whatever version of our art or artistic play that you have fun with or that you value. And if you're not being creative, that right there could be the thing that's disconnecting you from the source of inspiration, that would kind of lead you toward a hobby or a desire or a wish The other thing that really jumpstarts us in New Earth paradigm, and sometimes this can go wrong. It depends on if we're feeling ourselves pulled in a direction of divine service from compassion. Sometimes we can decide because of an event, this is happening, I want to do this. And sometimes it can be a negative thing that happens. Like, for example, I'm just going to throw out a situation. George Floyd incident activated a lot of people. A lot of people got activated, right? And some of this came from a trigger, a wound, a reaction, a response. And some people were actually called and inspired to be of service and duty. And I'm not saying anything about the situation. I'm just trying to utilize an example that we were all aware of in some way. And you saw a lot of people get off the couch and people start doing things differently. And so this is another way that sometimes New Earth empires are inspired. If you are serving from your pain, your trauma, your wound, your war story, a lot of times that can leave you debilitated. It can actually pull from you. So it's really important that if you get activated from an event, 9/11 activated a lot of people. If you get activated by a major, like, colossal event, global or in your life, it's really important to pay attention. Am I being heart inspired? Do I feel like I can make a difference? Do I want to put a message out there to shift the conversation, the dynamics, the energy, to make a change? So if you're not activated in the next year and a half or so by something that really get like, I have to do something, I've got to get involved, then I would say, please start digging into whatever art, creative activity that you would be willing or interested or inspired by. Is there any type of art medium that you've enjoyed or played with in the past?
Long time ago. I think that's part of the thing, right? We start playing the roles and we lose ourselves, and it comes back to finding yourself. And then you have major events happen and it just kind of,
Mm-hmm.
pushes you way off track, and you just, you're trying to find yourself back to a path that no longer exists, right? Because you're not the same person, and you don't even know what that person looks like anymore, but you also don't know what the new person looks like either, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's kind of just where I'm at in life, I think. And maybe once some things resolve themselves, maybe it will open the doors that I need. So, okay, thank you. I just thought there might be some, little tricks or tips that can start stirring the pot. It's not like I'm totally cut off from feeling or anything. It just, like I said, I'm attracted to a lot of sparkly stuff. It's
nice.
just nothing holding my attention long enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my baseline recommendation for everybody always is master divine communication. I think if you're able to have an intelligent conversation with your guardian angels, with your spirit guides, they're going to literally give you homework or give you suggestions of people to hang out with or things to do. And because I created an entire two online schools devoted to that mission, I feel like I talk about it a lot. Like, my answer to everything is divine communication, but it really is to me. So I wanted to just really, because you're in a dark room and you're talking to me, like, you feel disconnected.
Sorry, just my kids.
No, it's okay.
And then they just left, so it was like, that's why I had it off. Right?
Part of me was just like, this person needs fun. She needs laughter. She needs creativity. She needs joy. She needs art and music to be reminded why we're living. So whether or not there's a New Earth empire out there calling for you, I feel like you matter first.
Yeah.
And you matter more. And your enjoying your existence comes number one.
Yep, that's true. We have to create what we desire, even from the inside. No, I get, Okay, thank you very much
Play with
for
those
all your
tools.
words of wisdom.
You're welcome.
Stacy,
you.
just a curiosity, have you ever been a writer or done poetry or anything like that?
A long time ago.
Yes, we have someone who kind of intuited that that's a strength, a gift of yours. So I'm just
Actually, I was really good at poetry when I was younger, and then you get swept up, like I said, you have your kids, and
there
then
you go.
you get
Thank you.
you get
Yeah.
you
Get
get
in a
caught up in
routine.
your husband's
Yeah.
dreams and pushing everyone else forward, and you forget about yourself, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's just spending a lot of time, reevaluating, and I got some crazy stuff happening overhead, and I keep on thinking when it's over, things will start coming to me, because the stuff I'm dealing with is, nasty divorce,
Yeah.
and my dad was murdered. So I just,
Mm.
I'm waiting for, the trial to be over, just to kind of clear my energy overall of
Yeah.
carrying it all and working on the forgiveness and that,
Mhm.
so, but I'm wanting to jump out of, my
Yeah.
old self into a new self. So, any tools or tips to help me spread that way is always, I've done all the shadow dark work. Now I want to
Yeah.
do the light work, right?
Well, art is a wonderful expression, and it's also a wonderful inspirational medium. A lot of people start channeling and receiving divine guidance and downloads when they're doing different expressions of art. And definitely, if you're a meditator, I would ask questions like, what can I share? What can I create? What can I contribute? If you're wanting to be in that direction and looking and exploring where you can be of divine service.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, ladies.
Yeah,
for
and
all your time.
I've got another suggestion.
Mhm.
Uh, Kathy Mason, don't you think she should come to our co-creators convergence?
There you
It's
go.
about light bringers. That's it's like all of those things.
What is the co-creator convergence?
That's
It's a
what we're
gathering,
in.
what we call ourselves light bringers.
Love
And
it.
it's coming up really soon. Where are you located, Stacy?
Well, that's kind of the issue. I'm in northern Canada, and
Wow.
they've
Oh, wow.
I'm in Edmonton, so I'm kind of high up there.
Yeah.
But they've just, those little things that they're forcing everyone to take. I don't take them, and our government has not been kind to us. So
Yeah, I know a lot of people that feel that way. Yeah.
travel has been, not to say I was going anywhere anyways. Like I said, my dad's murder trial keeps on getting
So
over,
sorry.
and you don't have to be sorry. Everything happens for whatever reason, and he left me many gifts in his passing that way. So I embraced that, and we were
Very
best friends.
compassionate.
So.
Very compassionate. Yeah, I think community is, as Kai has said, and many times, go to your inner sanctum, but also having community. And that's what the co-creators convergence is all about. Sharing what your gift is. And
I look so forward to the time I can travel again without being, abused.
Yeah.
There's so many things I want to do. So,
Mhm.
but thank you, ladies, for your time. It's been a delight.
Yeah, thanks for
and,
joining us. And we're
I
here
take
every
everything to
Thursday
heart.
night.
Yes, I
Yeah.
know. I usually choose catch you, or I pay attention, or as long as I'm not busy or something, I'll just watch on the sidelines. I'm not much of a jump in kind of person. So
Well, do you get our monthly announcement of speakers?
yes, I do.
Okay, very good. I thought
Yep.
you seemed familiar. So
No, I sign up. So
very
Nope.
good. Very
this
good.
is really great. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for
Thank you for
allowing
joining
us
the
to.
conversation.
Yeah, thanks for participating.
I think Kathy wants to jump in here.
I have a question. I have had readings, I think 3 of them, that
Okay.
said this year that I would do a project with another woman that would be incredibly successful. And I wondered, I mean, when I don't know if you ever saw that little kid's book. It's like, are you my mother? Like, are you my partner? Are you the person I'm
Oh,
supposed to do this project with? And I wondered if you could see or sense if I already know the person or if it's coming, or it's just a curiosity. I'm doing tons of cool stuff already. I'm like super busy, but this sounded like it was a divine opportunity.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me look. Let me see. So I don't know what the other people told you. Specifically, they're showing me you crossing paths with this woman at the end of the year and it not really blooming or blossoming into a project until after that. So I don't know what timeline you were given.
It was just my age. It was when I turned, I don't want to say how old I am.
You don't have to. I'm just saying, you sounded to me like when you first asked me, you sound like you had a very specific time frame or timeline.
No, just this year. But
Mhm.
but no, no, the momentum of what I'm doing, the opportunities to work with people and the things I'm doing is just, they're so cool.
Yeah,
I'm
this
really
isn't
happy.
gonna pass you by, but I really, it almost feels like there's only gonna be like 2 weeks to the rest of the year, like when it happens. Like it's
Okay.
like it feels to me like it's barely still this year when you cross paths, kind
Okay.
of thing. Does
And
that make
is it
sense?
somebody I already know, or is it somebody? Oh,
Mm-mm.
interesting.
I don't think so.
Interesting.
No, no,
Okay.
no. Do you already have a book out
Yes,
there?
I've got
Yeah.
2 books out there.
They want you to be talking about this more. Are you sharing about it online? Yeah.
I used to. I've been on TV with it and everything. I need to write another book because they're old. I wrote 2 books 8 years, 10 years ago, long
Mhm.
time ago.
They're saying one of them is very relevant right now. Do you mind telling me what they're about?
The one was social media, and the other one was I do alchemy with marketing.
Perfect.
So yeah. So what was the first one? I can't even remember now. It might have been video marketing way back when it was just starting. And then the second one was about Facebook marketing, and it was ways for nonprofits to get their thing out, get fundraising.
They're showing me snippets out of one of them, almost like a paragraph or 2 that you would post online. They're suggesting that
Oh,
you
okay.
could post online, sharing that this is out there, that it's available.
It seems like it's old stuff. I mean, seems like I need to I already was thinking of writing something else.
Mm-mm.
So, but they're saying use that.
I feel like you have not necessarily, because maybe the strategies aren't current, but there's theories that you have behind these suggestions. Would you say that they're relevant now?
Well, speaking from a nonprofit point of view, yeah, they'd be relevant. They always
Yeah.
need help with training board members and doing fundraising and making sure we're working with the organization. We helped start a charity in 2009, and we just
Yeah.
did a big fundraiser for that. And
How was it?
By the Keystone Cops, huh?
Well, how was it? Did you guys do well?
We did. It was pretty magical.
Oh,
It's
good.
pretty magical.
Good.
So we're very, very pleased with how it came out. But
Good. Good.
that I'd say, yeah.
So the divine's actually
No.
describing you to me as like a pioneer, like a leader in your industry or doing something for the very first time, which is very new earth-y.
Mhm.
they're saying that some of the stuff that you're sharing is very relevant and compatible. And they're talking about, they say you're a woman with a lot of moxie. So I think sometimes when we're led or guided to share bodies of work, even if it's older, sometimes it just gives people a taste of our style, our temperament, or of like who we are or what we're about. So I think this is less about systems, although it sounds like Noel's here for that, and strategy. And I felt like it was more like getting a flavor for your personality in preparation up to the new book. And there's something about you actually having it tangible in your hands. They're telling me is almost like you recoding
Oh,
yourself
yeah.
with the excitement toward the writing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that helpful?
Yeah. I just hoped you were going to tell me, oh, you already know her and you really like her. And
Sorry to disappoint you. You are really
yeah, I
going to
was
like
hoping.
her.
Yeah, because isn't that weird? I mean, I was told that like 2 years ago, and then again, like in April.
The divine says that you were sisters in a different lifetime, and you guys have actually done lots of projects together. So it's going to feel like really compatible. Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good.
That's exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Life's never dull.
Concur. Is that it for questions, or do you have anybody else in here?
Doesn't Sarah have some? Come on, Sarah.
Well, I have a question.
Sure.
I want to make sure everyone knows that your website, newearthmagicschool.com. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so if
Yeah.
somebody wanted to work with you, I know this is new. I want you to tell people about that. And Sarah, I didn't mean to cut you off, but if you have a question, tell us how people can work with you and what you do. What is this thing that you birthed?
Yeah. So just to clarify, I created from divine inspiration my first online spiritual academy back in 2014, and it was called Messengers of Spirit. And the goal was to teach empaths. I took all the lessons that the divine gave me and I packaged it and sold it. And I was giving tons of guidance sessions, healing sessions, and I put that in there. And then all the major mistakes that I made and learned from, I put that in there. So it's packed full of, I think, just super awesome information. And Messengers of Spirit went through an evolution, kind of like how the New Earth empires were talking. And I got invited by the divine with a new mission. And I kind of would like to use this opportunity, if it's okay with you, to clarify mission. A lot of what we're having to do with New Earth energetics is redefine things, or take vocabulary back and say, this is what it actually means in this connotation. So in the New Earth paradigm, mission does not mean the same thing that it means in military or church. Its mission is just a divine invitation to co-create something beautiful for humanity. We don't sacrifice, we don't slave, and you don't get glorified for punishing yourself and becoming a slave to the system. So we're taking some of these words back and reframing them. So the divine asked me, how would you like to build New Earth cities and communities? And I was like, well, that sounds really cool. I mean, I think I would love that. And so that became my mission, without really understanding what that meant, because that sounds out there, right? And I'm so game, like, sure, yeah, let's do it. That's awesome. So when I say yes to creating New Earth cities and communities, I realized I was now being asked to open up like a Facebook group and kind of put the energetics out there for us to be a free share community and no compete zone. And we appreciate and respect everybody's philosophy or opinion. So anyway, New Earth Magic School became the evolution from Messengers of Spirit. So a lot of people might think that Messengers of Spirit went away, but she's literally embedded inside of New Earth Magic School. So New Earth Magic School has a program, self-study program, and then I have mentors who have walked with me, and now they're walking beside me, facilitating these transformations. If somebody wants to have a mentor, or you can do the program's self-study. I have about a year's worth of curriculum for somebody who wants to master their psychic skill set and divine communication. And then there's kind of like a 2-year curriculum for 18-month curriculum for somebody who wants to learn how to intuitively grow their business and tap into it using their multidimensionality, their gifts. So the way I tune in to New Earth businesses, I teach this, and then there's marketing strategies for that. There's different ways of calling in, using grids, using all kinds of really cool tools that the Arcturians have given me. They're packaged in there, and I have a meeting with them quite often, and I tried to brag about these. I got called into the principal's office because I went online talking about the multidimensional tools that we now have access to, these advanced technologies, instead of like Facebook ads, instead of spamming people, instead of direct messaging them. And we're tuning into our heart and our soul, and our business is coding. We have access to like different things that we can do. And I was so excited about it. I wanted to do a live stream about it. And I got called into the principal's office, and I was told, if you give this much information without somebody being locked in to being a heart-centered, conscious creator, this could become weaponized. And you cannot go out there and share this unless they come into the program and they honor the codes of sovereignty, if they honor the codes of being of service to the divine service, the greater good of humanity. Even the divine abundance codes are kind of in there. So anyway, Earth Magic School, and then the divine also asked me to open up some one-to-one private mentorship, which I hadn't been doing. I've been facilitating the spirit messenger training and the mentorship of spirit messengers for about 5 years. That's where I got a lot of the extra curriculum, and why it's now a self-study package, because the mentorship calls are in there when you sign up. You get to see the calls that we had for years, which are so cool to see all these psychics and healers and intuitives, and they're really getting locked into their abilities. So the divine said, we'd like for you to open up some opportunities to work with people one-on-one. So I have kind of like 3 different, I am intuitively create everything for everybody, but they gave me like some 3 frameworks to kind of start from. So if somebody wanted to have like a session with me where I channel 2 hours of guidance about their business, that opportunity is called Divinely Spoken. The next opportunity is where I work together with somebody on strategizing their offers or their mission business so that it is soul aligned and it's most aligned to their community. These New Earth empires tell us who their customers are, down to an avatar, down to what they care about, down to where you're going to find them. They tell us where to go look for their community. And so we channel all that, and I help them with their offers, and then I help them with their divine abundance, because I don't know about you, but money is just a thing that's getting recoded everywhere, especially for healers, empaths, and intuitives, a lot of the people that I mentor. So that second tier package is called Wealth Queen. And I work with Mary Magdalene and have a bunch of the Sisterhood of the Rose in there that works with us. It's just really beautiful offering. And then the most private tier that has like a luxury retreat with me at a luxurious beach destination is called Devotional Divine Mother. And it's more for somebody who wants a co-pilot to co-create with. And so that one can be 6 to 12 months, depending on what they need. So that's what I'm excited to be sharing. The divine wants me to continue channeling for New Earth empires so that we can kind of shift the conversation. And I wanted to ask, you guys or your community, when I talked about the grid workers earlier, were there any of you guys working on grids for the last 10 years, recoding? doing any of that stuff during the shift? Because you created the structures for these new earth empires to anchor onto. Oh, Stacy said I had a beautiful out of body experience with Mary. That's awesome. I got goosebumps everywhere. Love her. You're muted, Noel. Tell me again.
Yeah, a lot in our group work with grids, and a lot. I'm thinking of Darlis and Shelley and Kathy, and sorry, you can speak for yourself. You know, but a lot in our group do.
Beautiful. I appreciate that. The way the divine showed it to me is like our 3D grid had like an old world operating system on it. And when you guys installed that secondary one, you gave us an entirely new system to work with. And it was outside of humanity's old printing and programming and stuff. So thank you for doing that. I did a little bit too, but I knew there were people long in the game before I showed up.
Yeah, we went with Nina Patrick and Unity Grace and others literally around the world, doing grid work and dowsing and
Nice.
going to places and trying to reset energy.
That was the pre-work for where we're playing now. So I'm excited.
I was a hanger-on. I just I was a hanger-on. I said, we're doing this now. I said, okay, I'm with you.
Yeah. Well, I know during the pandemic, the dragons ended up showing up quite a bit, and they were also helping with the grid work and the ley lines and all that stuff that was being done. I connected with them quite a bit as well. So in New Earth Magic School, our training actually has you pair with a dragon, which is a really fun thing.
I was born the year of the dragon.
Yay!
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Sorry, do you want to get your voice in here, your
Yeah.
energy? I'd love to hear from you. You're muted.
Hello, hello, hi. Anika.
Hi, thank you for your patience.
It's been oh no, I've just been so enjoying it.
Yeah.
Oftentimes when I get on these, I just have to lay down because I just am absorbing but I really appreciate your conversation about being heart-centered.
Mhm.
You know, I have recently just really pivoted what I'm doing, and it's almost like I've completely almost out of like not even have a memory of what I've been doing for the last few years, or even a relationship to it. Honestly, I feel like I'm just so purely in the moment, and in being there, so much has dropped off. You know, I mean, not that there's a whole lot that has changed physically around me, but it just doesn't have the same impact. It doesn't even, it's not even really being absorbed in this dimension, I guess. How to explain that, but I think there's a lot of trust and a lot of joy. It's a lot of accepting that I've done a lot of the hard work. And I've been with a lot of people who've been in the trenches doing a lot of hard work. It just brings me to tears when I think about all the hard work we've done to, you know, really shift us away from repeating the same things over and over and over again. You know, and having telling the same old stories over and over and over again. You know, thinking of telling them as rituals, you know, to honor them, but really just entrenching them more in the same patterns. And now it's almost as if there's really no patterns. Like I think what you were mentioning that it's just freely open.
Yeah, we have new operating systems like MS-DOS, Galactic. It's wild.
So the most important for me at this point is to just always be tapping into the heart. And if I'm tapping into the heart, then I'm tapping into all dimensions that are guiding me. And then I get guided by the hummingbird that just came in right after the hurricane for 2 days. I haven't seen a hummingbird since I've been here for 3 years.
Wow.
So, you know, it really is a magnificent time that we're living. And I'm so super grateful to still be here to see it.
Yeah. The divine's actually giving me a message for you. So do you mind if yeah? Okay.
Yes.
They want me to share that the way the new earth paradigm shift was organized was while some of you troops were out front. I'm gonna end up crying. I always hear it first and I get so emotional. They're saying the divine sent in the young ones. So not only were you clearing and paving the way, but you were also the shepherds that would hold space for us, and even those younger than me, hold the doors open for us and teach us and train us and show us. So it wasn't just the shift. You're demonstrating, you're role modeling like what we aspire to be. Because if we're not gonna, enslave ourselves and work our fingers to the bone, if we're going to create a world from inspiration and imagination, if we're going to grow from our joy and our creativity, we need people that we honor and respect and we value and we trust to demonstrate that, to hold that high watch for us. So when you feel like you might be too tired or retired or ready to be done, the guidance, the request, the ask is, please go play with the children.
Mm.
Because
Beautiful.
you're gonna remind them and inspire them what they're here for. And also be a comfort, right? Because a lot of them, and I'm thinking, I'm in my 40s, my sons are in their 20s. Somebody's gonna have a kid soon, I'm just sure of it. I'm an aspiring grandmother with no grandchildren. So I'm just constantly like, can we have an angel baby? I just think they need our love, encouragement, and support. And my youngest was the one that showed up in my household with a lot of gifts that I didn't understand. And I had abilities that I didn't understand, but he was really touched by some things and I coached him where I could. I encouraged him where I could. I loved him where I could. I taught him to meditate, and I still encourage him to follow his passions because, the other side of his family won't encourage him to do that. Society doesn't encourage him to do that. TVs, movies don't really encourage, depending on what channel you're watching and what show you're tuned into. But for the most part, we're not encouraged to live from those philosophies. We're not encouraged to have multiple careers in a lifetime. And I think we should encourage this. So I asked my boys, instead of asking them like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I just wanted them to think about what they want to do next. Because I was still trying to figure out what I was going to be when I grew up. And then it kept changing every time I'd commit to something for, 5 or 10 years. So the divine's ask and encourage is to encourage the children, play with the children, be with the children. If you feel like you're without missionless, spend some time with the young ones, the younger ones, and they'll remind you why. Yes.
That's the most beautiful message. And that gets right to the heart. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to the divine. So beautiful.
Thanks. They got me.
Yeah. 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 And Sarah, you are just such a beautiful, nurturing, loving person and an empath. She feels very, very deeply.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's, known you almost as long as I've known Ty. Kathy.
And a lot of our first generation empaths on the planet, they were literally the faucets of transmutation. It was really kind of like my crowd and the ones behind me are learning that we can shut that off. But they were full throttle when they came in. So a lot of the people that I meet from that first generation empath crew, they literally went through years of depression or sadness or that wasn't theirs. They were literally just tuned into the collective. And I still think we're dealing with some people that are that tuned in to the collective.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everyone for coming tonight. Ty, this was very beautiful. And
Thank you. It's my honor.
Congratulations to your
Yeah.
cohort of
Yeah.
bringing this through. And you know, it was just really a gift. And it's just, I don't know if Kathy, you were here earlier, but so Ty and I met actually kind of because of Suzanne Geisman, who Kathy also does some things with. So it's kind of like this triangle between the three of us. And so anyway, it's just Stacy says, thank you. It was wonderful and wise. And
Thank you.
thank you, Stacy, for being vulnerable, sharing with us. And everyone, thank you for a beautiful, beautiful gathering.
A conversation. Yeah. And Bob, thanks for putting those comments in there too, kind of summarizing what I was sharing. I really appreciate that.
You bet. We were bringing it over to the Facebook Live feed as well. We look forward to having this in our archives for the other 250 plus amazing conversationalists that we've had the opportunity to lift up over the years. This is the space for sharing your gift to the shift in humanity, and you are that, Ty, and thank you for this evening, and the multiply, we know.
Yeah. And I noticed your comment in here that it's true. You never planned to do co-creators convergence. You kind of had your first gathering and it was the desires and the hearts and the wishes. So you weren't looking to solve a problem, which is kind of the old way of doing things.
Yep.
And you're letting your heart decide, and you're tuning into the people in your community and listening to their wishes. And that's new earth paradigm stuff. It's exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, you were at the very first
That's right,
CCC.
First convergence in 13, of
I
course.
was indeed, and the first one and the second one, and my heart has been with all of them. And still,
Beautiful thing to say. Yeah,
yeah.
Kathy too. So, well,
Thank you, one and all.
thank you, thank you, thank you.
Ty.